Good evening, Mr. Wesley. How you doing? This is Kevia Roberts, and I apologize for the inconvenience earlier. However, I'm going to go ahead and try to conduct my passive speech without any type of interruption. Hopefully, I can keep things together and not panic this time. But the name of my passive speech is Youth Offenders Being Tried as an Adult. Imagine receiving a phone call and basically the person on the other end is telling you that your 12-year-old child has just accidentally killed another person. With that information being said, imagine if you're sitting in a courtroom and they tell you, well, they tell your son or daughter they have life in prison without the chance of possibility of parole. What should we do? Is this a harsh punishment, or do this child, juvenile offender, really need to receive such a harsh sentence? I personally feel that basically in certain situations, yes, a child may need to be tried as an adult. However, in other situations, they may just need a second chance at life to get things together. Excuse me. I'm currently working as a certified correctional officer for the South Florida Reception Center, which is a Florida prison system. We currently house youth offenders as well as general population for general people and psychological patients. Now, with that being said, imagine yourself in this situation and you don't know really what to do. I basically did a lot of research and studies as well as looked at several documentaries in reference to the subject. And statistics say that a lot of people feel the same way that I do. However, let's get to the problem at hand. The problem with trying a minor as an adult, most people are unaware that there is a problem with trying minors as an adult, or how frequently the issue occurs where these juvenile offenders are tried as an adult. According to PBS.org, more and more minors are doing time alongside adults in prison because it has become easier to try juveniles in adult criminal courts. In fact, between 1992 and 1997, 44 states and the District of Columbia passed a law facilitating that transfers of juvenile cases to an adult system be put forth. The juvenile cases waived into adult crime courts peaked in 1994 when 11,700 cases were transferred. Under the court of law, teens 14 and under who are accused of certain violent crimes must be charged with these current adult punishments, which offset and sent to the juvenile facility only after a judge considers the case for a juvenile court. Trying minor as an adult has always been a controversial topic to the public eye. Reason why the issue is uh, such a big issue is officials like to believe that a crime is a crime, regardless of how the crime was committed. A crime is a crime, and regardless of who committed the crime and the criminal that's at hand should have to be punished for that crime. People with this type of mentality sometimes think only about the victim and not the defendant. Once again, like I was explaining earlier, I currently came across an individual by the name of Lionel Tate. I apologize, this isn't on my actual outline because I actually forgot about it for a second, but reading it over and over again, it brought it back to my attention. Lionel Tate was an individual who basically killed a 6-year-old playmate while he was playing with them. He basically did a wrestling move on this young lady due to the fact they were watching wrestling on TV. And once he did that move, he killed her. And basically, he ended up in jail and was tried as an adult for life in prison. And once he did receive his sentence, He, of course, appealed it, and along with the public and the plaintiff, they went ahead and helped him to get a lower sentence, which he was then won his appeal and was given a plea bargain that he overlooked before, which was 3 years in prison and 10-year probation. Once out on probation, Lionel Tate took to his own advantage and went ahead and tried to rob the Domino's Pizza guy, where he was then thrown back in prison, given 10 years for robbing that pizza delivery guy, and then he received 30 years for violating his probation. All because maybe he just wasn't raised the proper way, but we all can't say. There is no right way to go about punishing a child committing a crime, but there is an way of looking at how we can go about choosing that. With the information I provided, I hope I went ahead and persuaded you to understand my feelings and how I feel about it, and I feel persuade you to feel the same way I do. I currently feel that basically these individuals sometimes may need to be treated as an adult for certain crimes, and some may not, because they not all on the same mentality as far as know what it exactly is that they're going to be doing and what they did at that time. So with that being said, this is the end of my speech. Thank you, and you have a good night.